with if-else conditions, and everyone is good with this basic if-else conditions, right? Comfortable with the basic if-else condition, right? Now let us get into the next form. We want to create some functions. How do you define functions? How do you define functions in the Apex programming? Let us discuss about these functions now. Look at the point. Wherever we find flower bracket, I told it's a scope. I told wherever you find flower bracket, it is a scope. If the scope is given a name, now it is a scope. For the scope, if I give any name with these braces, for the scope I give a name. This is the scope. What is the name of the scope? I give show. For the scope, the name I gave, if I give these braces, it is called function. It is called function. Let's have basic idea. So, how you define function? Now, what is the purpose of the scope? If you want a group of statements to run together, we put them in a scope. Am I right? When do you go for a scope? If you want a group of statements to run together, we put them in a scope. When you want the same statements to run again and again, when you want the same statements to run whenever you want, I give scope. They are going to run like this. Statement 1. They'll run together. All of them will run or none of them will run. All of them will run or none of them will run. The scope. When you want all these statements to run together, we put them in a flower bracket. When you want a group of statements to run together, when you want group of statements to run together, we put them in a scope. Now, if you want the same statements to run again, how do you call? Again I have to write it. Again, if I want the same statements to run again, so what we are doing? Boss, when you want a group of statements to run whenever you want, when you want this group of statements to run whenever you want, what we do? We give a name for the scope. I give a name. What is the name? Show. Next time, when I want the same statements to run, I will simply say show. When I say show, the scope will run. Again I want to run. Again I say show. Again when I say show, that will run. Why? Because for the scope I gave a name. Now, if you want the scope to run, call with the name. Whenever I say show, run the statements in the scope. Again when I say show, run the statements in the scope. Are you getting my point? What is a scope? Scope is a group of statements. When you want a group of statements to run, we put those statements in a scope. When you want a group of statements to run, we put them in a scope. But when you want same scope to run again, how will you run it? Again we are redefining. Instead of this, for the scope, we gave a name. Whatever the name we gave, with that name we are calling it. When it says show, the scope will run. Again show, scope will run. I hope you got the clarity. Right? Why are you giving the name? If you want to refer the scope, we need a name so that I can call the scope wherever I want. When you want the same statements to run again and again, give a name to the scope and use this name, call it again. I hope you are clear. I hope you are clear. If I create name followed by these braces, it is what? Function. It is the scope of a function. It is the scope of a function. For the scope, we gave a name with the functional braces. This is called functional scope. Functional scope. How do you call? Are you getting my point here? So what is a scope? Scope is what is a function? Function is a group of statements running together to perform a particular task. We can invoke the group of statements whenever we want. We can invoke the same group of statements whenever we want. I hope you got my point. Let's have a clarity about scope first. If you understand the scope, rest all the things will be easy for you. What is a scope? Now, if you want to run every statement separately, no need to put them in a braces. When you put them in a braces, it means all these are running together to perform a task. Group of statements are running together to perform a task, then put them in a scope. Right? So, what I want? This is it is a scope. If I want the same statement, same group to run again I have to create. If I want the same group to run again, what we are doing? Same thing we are defining again and again. Write once, again write it second time. Again you want to run, write it one more time. Why are you writing these many times? When you are performing the same logic, why are you writing these many times? That's why they told, instead of writing these many times, give a name to the scope. Now when you want same statements to run, don't define, simply say, when I say show, the scope with the name called show will run. Again when I say show, scope with the name called show will run. 1, 2, 3, 4 will run. Again I told show. Scope with the name called show will run. 1, 2, 3, 4 will run. Are you clear? Now to make this scope as a function, we are adding function. How do you call? Basic idea. Technically we'll see. Look at the concept only. Technically we'll see. Now tell me, what is a function? Function is a group of statements running together to implement a particular task. We can invoke the function whenever we want. We can invoke the function. Invoke the function means the statements in the scope will run again. When I say show, every statement in the scope will run again. When you want the same statements to run again, call the scope. How do you call the scope? With the name of the scope. What we are calling as function. I hope you got the idea. Basic purpose is clear. Clear for everyone? People who are new to the programming, am I clear with this? So let us see. Function. Function is a group of statements all the statements defined in the scope run together to perform a task. We can call the function I hope you are good with this. I hope you are good. Is it visible last? If it is not visible, you can come forward. Right. So it will be good if you can leave the first 3 chairs for the girls and push up. If they sit at the last, they will not be able to see the board. Leave these first 3 rows for the girls. Okay. Then you occupy it. Right. Okay. Now let us see. What is the syntax? How many types of functions are here? Functions are classified into 4 types. Functions are classified into 4 types. So what we have? Function without run type, without parameter. Function without return type with parameter. Return type without parameter. Function without return type without parameters. Function without return type and with parameters. Right, boss? What is the syntax we have? Return type, function name, parameters. Generally, we have return type, function name, parameters. Function name will be in which format? Lower camel naming convention. Any name that you give for a function should be in lower camel. I told you, variable name, function name should be in lower camel. Variable name, function name should be in lower camel. Right. Let us go back. First one we are going to start. Now, let me give you basic example, boss. Function is what? Group of statements running together, right? Look at the point. I call Ravi, take these 1,000 rupees, go to the restaurant, have your lunch, come back. Now, this Ravi took the 1,000 rupees, went to the restaurant, had his lunch, he came back. Now, is the work is completed or not? He went, he had his lunch, he came back. Now, after completing the work, is he giving any value back to me? Is he telling something back to me? He went there, completed the work, came. Work is done. After work is done, is he conveying any message to me? Satish, this 500 is left, take it. Satish, quality of the food is not good. Satish, okay, traffic is heavy. Is he conveying any message? No. He went there, completed the work, came back. I am also not expecting any output from him. I am not expecting any value. You simply go, complete the work and come back. Don't inform me. Don't inform me. You go there, complete your work, come back. Don't inform me. So what is that? He is completing the work but not returning any information back to me. I don't want you to return any information. Just do the work and come back. Are you getting my point? He is expecting you to do the work, but I am not expecting you to return any information back to me. You do it, come back. I hope you are good. People are good. People are with question mark faces. Okay. Again, chalo, let me give you an example. Now, you proposed a girl. You told, don't tell yes or no. Proposed a girl, keep your information with you. You're not expecting any written thing, any information back. Now you gone, you proposed, your work is done, came back. You're not expecting any run type. You're not expecting any response from her. Now you said, yes or no, don't tell me. You done, my work is done. What is it? You have gone there, performed the work, came back, but you're not expecting any information back. Work is done, but you're not informing me any value back. So what is this called? Function without return type. You complete the work, you're not running any value. You have completed the work, but you are not returning the value. How I know you're not returning? Void means I am not expecting any extra information from you. Whatever the work that is given to you, you complete it. I am not expecting any value from you after completion. You complete the work and close it. Void function name, no parameters. This is how we are going to give. Function without return type, without parameters. Void. I am not expecting any value back from you. Whatever the work is given to you, you complete and close it. I am not expecting any value back from you. Whatever the work given to you, you complete and leave it. Void function. See, boss, whether you like it or not, class will continue. Keep with some smiling faces and learn. You get the concept. If you learn with the frustration, you will not get the concept. Okay. Whether you like it or not, doors are also closed for next 1 hour. The doors also will not be opened. You have to sit in the class and complete, right? So there's almost 180 or 190 people. If you want to go out also, it's very difficult. So sit in the class, learn happily, you will understand it. Right. Now, example 1. Create a function show. Create a function show. How do you create? Void create a function, call me. How you define? Void. Why are you giving void? You are not expecting anything. Why you are not adding anything here? I am not expecting any parameter. Am I expecting any value? Boss, I am saying. Okay. Am I expecting any value? No. Void. Right. So, read these examples. Create a function. Create a function, login. So, how you define it? Void. Now, don't forget to maintain the naming conventions. Don't forget to maintain the naming convention. Your program should speak your experience. The standards what you follow in writing a program should speak your experience. I hope you are good with this. Now, this is how we are defined. If you want to call them, how do you call it? Now, if you want to call them, how do you call it? Execution. You call it. Whatever you gave here, the same name we are calling. If you want to execute, how do you call them? How many times I can call? Your choice. How many times you want the same action to run? Execution, deposit. I hope you are good. So we are going to call with a name. If it is a deposit, deposit. Let us go to the next one.
Satish, can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
I got the return type that is void, but I didn't get the parameter, right? Can you
We are
please
going to
give one
take
example?
this next format is going to be the same.
Okay.
Now we are doing without parameter. Next example is with parameter. So I hope everyone is good. Okay. We are not worried what is the logic inside. First we are interested in how you define it. Right. Let us go to the second one. When you are going to the second one, what is the second format we had? Function with without return type with parameter. The first structure is clear for everyone, right, boss? Now, what is with this with the parameters? I'm saying, boss, if you give me your name and age, I will perform the logic and tell you what is your salary. Now, what I'm saying, if you give me your name and age, I will perform this logic. What I'm expecting, if you give me these values, I will do this logic. So what I am expecting some values from me. Boss, if you want me to run this logic, first you have to tell me what is your name and age. Now I told whether you are pass or fail. If I have to tell you whether you are pass or fail, first give me your internal marks and external marks. Then only I can tell you whether you are pass or fail. What I am expecting some values from you. If you give these values only, I can run this logic. In the previous case, if you call me, I will run the logic. But now I am saying, if you can provide these values, then only I will run the logic. Now, are you getting my point here? Now tell me, like I told, what is the annual revenue? First, you tell me the name of the company. I will tell you annual revenue. Boss, whether I am pass or fail, give me your roll number first. Then I will tell you pass or fail. Boss, am I selected or not? First tell me your mobile number, then I will tell you whether you are selected or not. What is that? I am expecting some value from you. If you give me that value only, I can do this logic. Without that value, this logic cannot run. So who is supposed to give that value? User. Boss, when you want to call me with the following values. Then only I will respond. Otherwise, I will not respond. I am expecting some inputs from you. If you give me these inputs, I will run the logic, give you output. From where I am expecting the input? From the user. Whoever is calling me, you have to call me with the following input values. If you give me following values, then only I can do this logic. So that values what I am expecting is called parameters. Values what I am expecting is called parameters. If you give me those parameters only, I will perform this operation. Are you getting my point? So what is that? The values what I am expecting from you, they are given as parameters. I hope you are good with this. Let me give you syntax void, because I am not expecting any return type. You will do the logic. After completing the logic, I am not expecting any value. But to run the logic, I require some. What was this? Whatever the values you are expecting before the starting of the operation, you give me these values first, then only I will run my logic. Whatever the values you are expecting, they are called parameters. They are called parameters. Then I am giving here example. Create a function. So then they told void show what they are expecting, name. In this I am writing like system.debug. What is my logic? My logic says it will print your name. If I want to print your name, you have to give your name first. If you give me your name, I will print it. Now what I am doing, when I say show, I will print the name. But who you have to give the name? You give me your name, I will print it and show you the output. I hope you are good. I hope you are good with this. Somebody from online.
Yeah, hi, Satish. Do you have to mention the type of data as well in the parameters?
It's a mandatory. It's a must. It is a must that you have to mention it. Create a function, calculate the two. Then how do you create? Void calculate. You have to mention separately for every parameter. A value, comma, integer, B value. You have to mention it separately. I cannot write it like this. You cannot write it. Every parameter data type should be mentioned separately. If you are taking two integer parameter, integer A value, comma, integer B value. You cannot define them together. For every parameter, you have to mention the data type separately. I hope you are good.
Hi Satish, I have a small doubt.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, you are telling there should be no return type, but the above condition, it will return the name, no? Whatever name we are
I
giving,
am not
it will.
running it. I am printing it. There is a difference between running and printing it. Now, I told you, return type means after performing the entire logic, it is giving some value back to me. Now, what is this?
Okay.
Printing is an action. Now, look at this.
Okay.
Running the logic is different. Returning the value is different. Running the logic is different. Returning the value is different. Now, when I say this, integer C value equal to A value plus B value. Now, it is what? Performing the action. It is performing the action. It is running the logic. It is not returning the value. It is what? Running the logic. Returning the value is a different story. I hope you are good with this. People have
Yes.
followed this. Yeah. Create a function, set data, which will take name and rating as input parameters. Create a function, set data with name and rating as input parameter. Create a function, set data, which will take name and rating as input parameter. Rating is like warm, cold, hot. These are the possible values. Rating, warm, cold, hot. So what type of value is that? We have void, set data, string, name, comma, string. Create a function, invoke, which will take experience, create a function, invoke, which will take experience and city as input parameter. Void, invoke. Now, you want to take 3.2, 4.2, then it is a decimal. If you want to take only 2, 3, integer. It's your choice. I have taken 3.2, so I am taking decimal. Create a function. Create contact, which takes last name, first name, phone, email, as per. Create a function, create contact, which takes last name, first name, phone, email as input parameters. Right. So how you defined void contact string last name
Sorry, Satish, if there are two strings together, can we write string last name
we
and comma first name?
We cannot. Every parameter should be defined separately. Every
Okay,
parameter should be
thanks.
defined separately. Every parameter should be defined separately. Every parameter should be defined separately.
So Satish, parameters is always in the like lower camel, or
See, it is a
it can
variable,
be.
right? Every variable is defined as lower camel. Now,
Oh,
these are the variables which are local to that method. Every parameter is a local to that method. All these are variables, so they should be in lower camel. I hope you are good with
This is
this.
the last name and first name, yeah?
Last name, first name. Order
That's
you
the
can
variables,
choose it.
yeah?
See, I ask you to take the parameter, this parameter. In which order you take is your choice. Okay. Now, look at the point. How do you invoke it? If I say show, it gives error. You cannot call show. If you want to call me, you have to pass. Now you have to pass the parameter. Want to call, you have to say show. Now what is the output we are going to get? Name is what? Satish. Whatever I am passing here, this value will go here. I'm saying take the name show. Take the name as Satish and run this logic. I gave here then I told. Take the name as Ravikiran. Take the name as Ravikiran. Run the logic. See if they are expecting any value, you are supposed to pass it. Then again here. Execution. Calculate. What was this? Calculate. They are expecting two values. They are expecting two values. Boss, if you want to call me, you have to call me with two integer values. First integer value is taken as a value. Second integer is taken as b value.
So string parameters should be quoted in single commas
Yes.
and numbers no commas.
If any value is a string, it has to be in single. If you are giving a straight away constant. Okay. I hope you are good with this. The next one. Similarly, define the set data. Write the execution for defining the set data. Write the execution code for set data. Write about set data, everyone. Is it accepted? Accepted. They're expecting a string value. They're expecting a string value.
So Satish, if I give the 10 in the quotes, it will accept, right?
Exactly. Set data. If I take like this, now it will take name as Ravi. Now the same code if I give like this, set data. Now there is nothing wrong. You are expecting a string, I gave a string. You are expecting a string, I gave a string. But what it will do? It will take name as sort, reading as Ravi. The first value is stored to first parameter. Second value is stored to second parameter. I am expecting a string value. You gave a string value. Whatever the first thing you gave, that is name. Second string I gave is a reading. I hope you are good with this. People are good with this.
Satish,
Yes.
whether we can give a string name equal to initialization like that also we can do?
No, we cannot.
String name equal to some?
We cannot.
do.
Right. Then execution. Now, what will be the first case?
Error.
What will be the second case? It is going to be error because we are expecting decimal, but you gave string. Expecting decimal, you gave string. Then we had third one. We'll take experience as 0.2.
Sorry to interrupt you, Satish. Is there any way to validate the email address that email address should have @ in it?
See, by
Or
default,
just as
in the field, when you take a data type as a email, it will have the validation rule. If you want to write any custom validation, you have to go for programming. In the object, we have a fields, right? Data type, if I choose as a email, what will happen? By default, validation will be applied. But if you go to the programmatical data types, in the programming, do you have any data type called email? You don't have. It is given as string. Now you want the string to be in the form of email, you have to write your own validation. Now we are taking a string as an email. We don't have any data type called email in the programming. So if you want to take a email, it has to be a string. Now that string has to be in the form of email. You have to write your own validation rules. I hope you got my point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Now go ahead with this. Now tell me what is the output here? Last name, phone number, we'll take the second one. It is expecting 4 parameters which are in the form of string. I also gave 4 parameters in the form of string. No error. But the point is, last name, the order in which you gave, they will be taken in the same order. This is how they are going to take. Right? So what is this input parameter? Boss, I am expecting you to pass the following values before I run the logic. If you want me to run this logic, you are supposed to pass the following values. If you want me to run the logic, you are supposed to pass the values. Right? So the values which I am expecting you to pass, they are called input parameters. I hope you are good. Okay. Now let us take some use cases. Create a method, calculate, which will take experience and city name as input parameters and calculate salary and bonus. If city is Hyderabad and experience is greater than 3, then salary. Okay. Now write the code for this. Create a method to calculate. Which will take experience and city as input parameters. Which will take experience and city as input parameters. Calculate the salary and bonus. Write the code. There's a complete code. Write the complete code. Void calculate. We're expecting some decimal. Then what we need? Decimal, salary, and bonus. If city equal to Hyderabad, experience is greater than 3 years, then I ask you to keep salary equal to otherwise salary equal to 30,000, bonus equal to, then I want to print. Now what is this doing? It is calculating performing the operation. I am not expecting any value from you. You do the logic what I told. Take these values, perform the logic what I asked you to do. After performing the logic, I am not expecting any value from you. You do your work. You take this value, do your work. I give parameters, take the parameters, perform my task. Take the parameters, perform my task. What is your task? Calculate the value of salary and bonus and print it. Everyone is good with this?
Hi Satish.
Yes, Amma.
We can take this decimal salary and bonus in the above this wide calculator.
We can take it. When I go to classes, we'll be doing the same. Okay. Right now, as I'm giving the function, I have taken within the function. Okay. Amma? Now, everyone is good with this? Then how do you execute the code? How do you execute the code? Calculate 4. What is the output we are getting? When I calculate 4, Bangalore, experience is 4, city is Bangalore. Condition is false, so we get salary. It is printing. Again, I call the same function, calculate. I can call it number of times. This time, experience is 6, salary is, okay, experience is 6, city is, okay, Hyderabad.
Salary 50 and bonus 3K.
Right. We can call with a different input. If we call with this input, this is the output. If we call with the input of 6 and Hyderabad, we have different set of output. Based on the inputs what we gave, we will calculate the values. I hope everyone is good with this. Now,
So Satish, if I give the wrong, like input for salary and bonus, is it return the null,
it
right?
will throw error message. If you don't pass it in the proper way, it throw error message. Okay. Now, look at the point. If I don't give this, if I give like string like this, what will happen? It throws error message. I told you, mapping should be there. Exact matching should be there. Otherwise, it will give you error message. Right. Let's take the next one. Example. Create a method. The data, which will take. Create a method, set data, which will take industry and type as and set the value of setting ownership. If first wait, let me complete a month. Don't interpret it every line. First, let me write the program. When other people are writing the program, you can ask your question. Okay. If industry is new customer, now create this example. Now go ahead. What is your question?
What is the difference between function and method?
No. First, let's finish the function. When you come into the concept of method, I'll give you. Right. The methods will be there in the classes. When you define the same function in the class, we call it as a method. Okay. Now, function can be called by anyone. Method can be called only by the class members. So you understand this when you go to the class concept. The same function defined in the class is called method. It can be used only by the corresponding class. Okay. And people, please ask your questions when other people are writing the program. When I give the exercise, remaining people will be writing the program. During this time, you ask the question so that it will not disturb the rest of the people. So once I explain the topic, I'll be giving the exercises. When other people are doing the exercises, you ask your questions, whatever you have, so that rest of the people will not be disturbed with the questions. Right. Please, all of you ask your question when other people are writing the exercises. Okay. Right.
So I'll repeat my question. In the before example, above example, right? If I give city as Chennai and rating as 1, it will throw the null values, right?
Which example, ma?
It's the above example, like
This
the
one?
previous example. Yeah, this one. Hyderabad and 3 is there, right?
Okay. Okay. If you give?
Not here, I think. Scroll down.
Here?
Yeah, so if I give Chennai and experience is 1.
Now, what is the...
No, sorry. 1 comma Chennai, sorry. 1 comma Chennai.
Okay. Now.
Yeah, so...
Now, what is your city? City is not Hyderabad. Condition is false,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
It will come to else.
Oh, sorry. Again the same thing. Okay.
Everyone do this example?
Hi, Satish.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
In the above example, we have taken the experience as a 4 and Bangalore.
Okay.
So experience is greater than 3, right?
Yeah. But it's 2 conditions I give, no? And I give. Condition 1 and condition 2. If only both of them are true, it will be true.
Okay.
Yes. Very good. Boss, I told a system.debug bonus, sir. If you want to print a last name, you will give system.debug last name. People are done with this example? Example 7?
Hey Satish,
Yes, ma'am.
can we give all the print statements in one system.debug?
You can do it, Amma. In the initial, I don't want to make it complex, so I was giving separately. Because we are in the beginning state, I don't want to make it complex, so I'm putting everything separately. Okay?
Hi Satish, in the above example, you said decimal salary comma bonus will not work, right?
Yes.
So
In the example, I told calculate Chennai 1, it will be error. Why? They're expecting the first value as what? Decimal. So what is the value we gave? String. That is the reason it will not work.
Line number. Can you go scroll up? Yes. Here. Line number 135. Salary, comma, bonus will not work.
I told this will not work if you are defining here. I told that when you're passing input parameter, these are not input parameters. These are local variables, right?
Okay.
If you're passing the parameters here, then you have to define separately, not as a local variables. Okay, boss. Now look at this example, everyone. Void set data. So I told string industry. This is the point I told. You cannot give like this in parameters. These are input parameters. Here you are supposed to define everything separately. Now here we are going to define everything separately. String industry, string time. Now what is our condition? You are supposed to keep rating, ownership. See boss, right now we are not giving complete program. That's why every variable I am defining within the, please with your mic, right. Every variable we are defining within the method. When you go to the programming, when you go to complete program, those variables I will define in the, those variables I am going to define. Those variables I am going to define in the class. Here it is a separate method we are practicing function. So I am defining every variable I require within the function. What was that? Rating, ownership. Then I told if industry equal to ranking and rating, what was it? Type equal to then I ask you to, if the condition is true, rating equal to what? Then I have ownership equal to I told. Rating equal to what? Then I want to print it. If you want to print it, whatever the variable you want to print, I hope you are good with this. So what was this? Method without return type. Method without return type with parameters. Method without return type with parameters. How can I say void? Void is what? Without return type. Now how do you execute this? Now look at the point. Until I complete the concept of class, whatever you are discussing that you cannot execute. Everything will be executed in the Salesforce with the class only. So these are all the concept what we are going to use in the class. Once I complete the concept of class, then we will include all these in the class and execute. Till then, we are only practicing the format of writing the program. This will not be executed in the Salesforce directly. Are you getting my point? This is the format of writing the code. Don't make an attempt to execute. Now in the Salesforce, everything will execute as a class only. As we are not in the concept of class, we have to wait until the class is completed. Only when the class is completed, I can literally execute this program and show the output. Right now, to create the class, whatever the basics we require, we are trying to understand how do you write it. I hope you are good. Now execution, how do you call it? set data. Now tell me what will happen with this. Error or success? It is not an error. They're expecting what? String. I gave a string. They're expecting what? String. I gave a string. Is it equal to banking? No. Comes to else. You are expecting a string. I gave a string. You are expecting a string. I gave a string. You check the if condition. If condition failed, I came to else. I hope you are good. Right.
Yes.
If I give it in this format, it is an error. It is an error. Why? You are expecting a string. I gave integer. Expected string, but found. I hope you are good with this.
Yes.
Then I give the next one. Then it takes industry as banking, type as new customer, run the logic. I assume that everybody has followed this structure. People are comfortable with this, right? People are
Yes, sir.
comfortable with this. Clear for everyone? Okay. Now let us take next example. See, basics are important. If you are able to write the basic programs by your own, rest of the programs you can make an attempt to write. Basics, if you are not good, every concept will sit in the class and just doesn't go. So if you want to get a hands-on experience, you should be good with the basics. Make a number of practice on basics. If you're not comfortable with that, let me know. I can take a couple of examples. But when you go to advanced programming, we will not be able to spend this much time. Because we assume that you know all these concepts. We straight away go with the concept. So please go with the basics. If you're not comfortable with that, let me know. I can take a couple more examples. When you go to advanced concepts, when I write a program, I will not re-explain all this. After 40 days or 50 days of class, I will not again come back and say what is the function. So I assume that you already know it. So if you have any classes on the basics, get them clarified in the initial. Right? I'm making very clear. People has to be very good with the basics. You should have hands-on experience in writing the basic programs. Every concept you should have hands-on experience. Otherwise, coming classes will be difficult for you. Right. So let us go back to the next one. Create a method. Calculate. Calculate. Which will take now. Here, did I mention you to take any parameters? Did they ask you to take any parameters? No. I told create a method. Okay, create a method which will take two input values internally and print the value. Did I mention take two input parameters? No. I told take two values, calculate the sum and print it. I am not expecting you to take any parameters. When you are not expected to take any parameters, what is that? Void calculate. So what I'm doing? Integer value. I have C value. If I want you to take, I will mention take input parameters. C value equal to A value plus. You're supposed to mention it. Now I have not asked you to take any parameters. That's why you are taking internally. So here, everybody will have A value as 10, B value as 20. They take the calculation. No, I want you to enter the value of A and B. I will take as input parameter. Now I will calculate based on your values. Ask him, enter the A value and B value. No, I will take my own values. I will calculate. No parameters. I hope everybody is good with this. Clear for everyone? Okay. Let us take next one with parameters. Try to understand the concept carefully. With return type. We are going to take with return type. Now, what is that with return type? I am expecting, boss, do whatever the logic I asked you to do. After doing this logic, give me some value. Function without with return type. This what is the syntax. Now, everyone listen here. Everyone listen here. Everyone listen here. Create a show method. Create a show method which will return age. What is the purpose, boss? You do the logic. Give me this value. If you give me this value, based on that value, I have some. Okay, I have some other logic to be performed. I am calling boss. Calculate my salary and give me the salary. If you give me my salary value, I will implement other logic. Now I am giving some value to you. Perform the logic. Give me the result. I am asking you to take this data, perform the logic. After performing the logic, give a particular value, which I am asking. Look at this. Create a show method, show function, which will return age. Which is going to return what? Age. Now they are saying, after running the logic in the show, after running entire logic in the show, return the value of age. Your age is going to be in the form of, I give show. Now in the show, they told, take integer, then return age. What are they returning? Age. Age is going to be in the form of integer show. Integer show. Now I am not writing void. I am writing what? Integer. Why? He is going to return you the value of age. You are expecting this guy to return the value of age. After running the logic in the show, return the value of age. Suppose I have given like this. So now, if somebody call show, then what happened? It is going to print line 1, line 2, entire logic in the show will run. Whatever the logic you gave, logic will run. After running the logic, wherever we have called a show, okay, give their value of each. Now you are giving some value. So what I am going to do? Like this I am going to take. Integer a value equal to show. So whenever you call a method called show, here this is replaced with what? That show is replaced with what? Age. What is the age value they are giving? 30. What is the age value they are giving? 30. What is the age value they are giving? 30. After running entire logic, whoever has called you, give him the value of age. After performing entire logic, whoever has called you, give them the value of each. Now I told, do this logic, give me the value of each. Ravi, take this 1,000 rupees, go to a restaurant, have your lunch. Okay, run the change for me. I'm expecting what? Change. I will take return type is this one. Ravi, take this 1,000 rupees, go to a restaurant, come and give the feedback about the food quality. Now Ravi went, had his food, came back, quality good, quality bad, stink. Ravi, take this food, take this 1,000, go to the restaurant, have your lunch, come back and tell me, how many customers are there in the hotel? He has gone there, had his food, and is giving count is 30 members. I will take return type is digit. After doing the work, I am asking you to return particular value. After doing the work, I am asking you to return what particular value. After doing the work, I am expecting you to return one particular value, which is called return type. Which is called return type. Which is called return type. I hope you are getting my point. So let me give you an example. Entire logic will run. Logic will not stop. Logic will run. After running the logic only, the value will come. So what is the value of A here? Basically, we do the basic examples. Create a method, calculate, which will return.
So in the first example, it will display line 1, line 2, and 30, right?
It will not display 30. It will return 30. I gave only these two, no?
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Right. Is it a ringtone?
Satish,
Yes.
sorry, can you please scroll up a little bit so that I can see the syntax for this example? Thank you.
So how do you write the second one? What type of value they are expecting? This one. Amount. Calculate. Then I am taking decimal. If you take a amount as decimal, return decimal. If you take amount as integer, return integer. I have taken the amount as decimal, so I am giving decimal value. If you take as integer, you take integer value. So return the city name. City name is going to be string invoke. Please mute your mics. I have taken experience as integer. Because I took experience as integer, you are going to return. Because they are expecting a integer value, expecting experience, I gave integer. Because they are expecting a city name, I gave. Previously I gave void. Now I am giving whatever the type of value you are expecting from the result. After performing this operation, what is the result you are expecting? Okay, that I am giving as return type. Return the particular value after running the logic. We'll see the extension of this in the next session. Okay. I hope you are good with these examples. Right. We'll continue in the next session.
So, one question, Satish.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you scroll up, you said like the syntax is return type and brackets, right? Braces.
Yes.
Here in the syntax, return type and function name. So, okay. So whenever there is no parameter inside, only this is possible, or is there any other?
You've seen only third format. The fourth format is with return type with the parameters.
Okay, got it.